The cry in the rain. The rain fell hard. Cold water hit the broken metal walls of the old junkyard. Jack pulled his coat tighter around his body. He had come to this place looking for scrap. Old wires, broken panels, anything useful. But now, all he wanted was to get out of the storm. Suddenly, he heard something. A sound that didn't belong here. It wasn't metal. It wasn't thunder. It was a cry. He stopped walking. His boots sank slightly in the wet mud. He listened again. There it was. Soft, but clear. A child crying. Jack turned his head and followed the sound. Behind a rusted cargo pod, he saw something move. Carefully, he stepped closer. As he reached the side of the pod, his eyes widened. A young alien girl was sitting on the ground. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes were large and full of fear. She held a small cloth to her chest, soaked from the rain. Next to her lay a younger boy, shivering and quiet, and behind them, half hidden, was their mother. She looked up at Jack with tired eyes. Her body was thin, her clothes torn. One arm wrapped around her children, the other held her side, where dark purple blood was leaking slowly. Jack froze. The alien woman didn't speak for a moment. Then she whispered, "Please, don't take them. Just let them live." Her voice was weak. Her lips were cracked. But her words hit Jack harder than any punch. "I'm not here to hurt anyone," Jack said gently, raising his hands. "Are you okay? You're bleeding." She looked at her children instead of answering. The little boy coughed and the girl pulled him closer. Jack looked around. No one else was nearby. No guards, no drones. Nothing but broken junk and falling rain. "Why are you here?" Jack asked softly. The woman shook her head. "They left us. Said we were useless. My mate is gone. The clan said we were a burden. So we came here. Nowhere else to go." Jack felt a tightness in his chest. He had seen many sad things after the war. But this was different. This was a family thrown away like trash. "You can't stay out here," he said. "You'll die." She gave a weak smile. "Then maybe the pain will stop." "No," Jack said, his voice firm now. "That's not happening." He took off his coat and walked closer. The little girl growled lowly, but her mother stopped her. "It's all right," the woman said. He doesn't smell like a soldier." Jack knelt and wrapped his coat around the children. "Come with me. My house isn't much, but it's dry. There's some food." The woman looked down. Her body shook, either from fear or cold, or both. "Why would you help us?" Jack didn't answer right away. Instead, he lifted the boy in his arms. The child was so light it broke Jack's heart. "Because no one else will," he finally said. The woman tried to stand but stumbled. Jack caught her with one arm. "My name is Zura," she whispered. "I'm Jack." He helped her up, holding the boy in one arm and guiding Zura with the other. The girl followed, clinging to Jack's coat like a lifeline. The walk to Jack's home was slow. The rain kept falling and the wind grew colder. But Jack didn't stop. He could feel Zura's steps getting weaker. She leaned against him more and more. When they reached his small house near the edge of the junkyard, Jack kicked the door open and led them inside. The lights flickered as he turned them on. It was a simple place. One room, a heater, and a small kitchen. But it was safe. He laid the boy on a thin mattress and handed a blanket to the girl. Then he turned to Zura, who was barely standing. "You need rest," Jack said. "And food. I'm sorry," she said suddenly. Jack blinked. "What?" "I didn't mean to beg," Zura whispered, sinking to the floor. "But I had no choice. My children, they need someone. I can't protect them anymore." Jack crouched beside her. "You don't have to say sorry." Zura looked up at him. Her eyes were glassy. "In my world, asking for help like this means I must offer something in return. You don't owe me anything, Jack said quickly, but Zura didn't seem to hear him. She closed her eyes. If you take us in, the old law says, you become our protector, my children's father, my mate. Jack stared at her. Before he could answer, Zura collapsed. Secrets of the shattered home. The storm passed, but silence remained. Jack sat by the edge of the bed, watching the alien woman sleep. Zura's breath was soft but uneven. A bandage now covered the wound near her ribs. He had done his best to clean it, but her blood was different, thicker, with a faint glow. The children lay nearby, wrapped in warm blankets. The boy curled up like a kitten. The girl stayed awake, her wide purple eyes fixed on Jack. She didn't speak. She just watched. Jack gave her a small smile. It's okay now, you're safe. The girl didn't answer, but her fingers relaxed slightly. That was enough. He turned his attention back to Zura. Who was she really? Why would her people abandon her like that? And what did she mean when she said, if you take us in, you become our protector, my mate? That line played in his mind again and again. Hours passed. The heater hummed softly. The children slept. And then, Zura stirred. Her eyes opened slowly. She saw Jack, then sat up fast, but pain hit her like a hammer, and she winced. Easy, Jack said, gently helping her lean back. You're safe now, you're in my house. Zura blinked. Your house. Jack nodded. I found this place after the war. It's quiet. I fix things to survive. Nothing special? Zura looked around. Her gaze stopped at her children. Her lips trembled, but no words came. They're okay, Jack said. They ate something, slept well. You scared me, though. I didn't mean to, she whispered. Jack sat down beside her on the floor. You said your people left you. Why? Zura was quiet. Then slowly she spoke. Her voice was soft, but every word carried pain. My mate died in the rebellion. He was a warrior, respected. But when he fell, I became a drain. I had no strength, no job, just children and hunger. My clan said I was unfit. They gave me 3 days. Then they removed our name from the family stone. Jack frowned. Removed? In our culture, that means we don't exist anymore. Jack clenched his jaw. That's cruel. Zura gave a bitter smile. To them, it was mercy. She looked down at her hands. I tried to find food, shelter, but no one would help. So I ran. I thought maybe dying somewhere alone would be better than watching my children starve in front of strangers. Jack stayed quiet. Then Zura's eyes met his. But you gave us shelter, warmth, food. That means something. Jack nodded slowly. Then she said, in my world, kindness like that binds people. There's an old law. If a male protects a broken mother and her children, if he feeds and shelters them without demand, then by ancient right, he becomes their new mate. Jack blinked. I didn't do it for that. I know, Zura said. That's what makes it real. Jack scratched his head. Well, I'm human. Our laws don't work like that. Zura leaned closer, her eyes serious. But my children are aliens. My body is alien. If we stay with you, we'll still be seen as clanless, lost. Unless we follow the law. Jack felt heat rise in his chest. You want to marry me? No, she said softly. I want you to understand. You already became something to us, even if you don't say the words. Jack looked away. He had always been alone. He never thought of being anyone's protector, let alone a father. I don't know what kind of man I am, he said. But I couldn't leave you there. Zura smiled gently. Then maybe you're the kind of man we need. Suddenly, a small hand touched his arm. The little girl had walked over silently. She looked up at Jack, her big eyes shining. You are Daddy now? She asked in a tiny voice. Jack froze. He looked at Zura. She looked away. The girl continued. Because Mommy smiled today. She never smiles anymore. Jack swallowed hard. He slowly nodded. Maybe I can try. The girl smiled. Can I call you Jack? He chuckled. Sure. She ran back to her brother and pulled the blanket up over him. Zura whispered, You just gave her hope. Jack stood. Then I better not let her down. But as he turned toward the window, he saw a flash in the distance, red lights moving beyond the scrap hills. Drones. Someone had tracked them. The first meal, the first smile. Morning arrived quietly. The junkyard was silent now. No rain, no wind. Only the soft humming of Jack's old heater. Inside his small house, something new was happening. Zura stood in the corner of the kitchen, unsure. Her hands hovered above a box of dry food packets Jack had given her. She turned one over carefully, studying the words. She couldn't read English, but her sharp memory and survival instincts told her what to do. Jack was fixing a broken light on the wall when he smelled something odd. Not bad, just strange. Like heated roots and boiled metal. He turned around. What, are you cooking? He asked, wiping grease off his hands. Zura looked at him, then down at the small pot over the old burner. It's from your food, but I added Vora spice. It's mild. Good for weak stomachs. Jack walked closer. The kids were still asleep under the blanket pile. He leaned over the pot and took a sniff. It was weird. Earth food shouldn't smell like that. Zura tilted her head. Too strong? No, just different, Jack said, smiling a little. You know how to cook? She nodded. My mother taught me, before the clan turned cold. There was a pause. Then Zura added softly, We used to cook for our mates, after a long day. It was our way of showing care. Jack looked at her. The glow from the burner lit up her tired face. She wasn't wearing armor or makeup like some aliens he'd seen in the capital. Her clothes were old, and her hands were rough. But right now she looked peaceful, like someone finally allowed to be someone again. She lifted a small bowl and poured a bit of the strange soup into it. For you, she said. Jack took it. Thanks. He tried a sip. His eyebrows rose. Zura watched him nervously. Bad. He swallowed. It's hot, but good. Really good. Her lips twitched. Not quite a smile, but close. Just then, the boy stirred. He sat up and rubbed his eyes. The girl yawned and hugged her brother. They looked toward the kitchen, noses sniffing the air. Zura smiled at her kids and waved them over. Come eat, it's warm. The girl stood quickly and grabbed her brother's hand. They ran to the small table where Zura placed 2 bowls. Jack noticed the girl didn't hesitate this time. She trusted the food. She trusted him. The children slurped the soup eagerly. The boy hummed. This is better than root cakes, he said, with his mouth full. Zura sat across from them and gently patted their heads. And then, she smiled. It wasn't forced. It wasn't polite. It was real. Jack saw it. A light in her face that wasn't there before. That small, quiet smile hit him, harder than anything. It meant something had changed, not just for them, for him too. Zura looked at him. Thank you, for letting them feel normal. Jack scratched his neck. It's nothing. They're kids. They deserve peace. No, she said. You don't understand. My daughter hasn't spoken this much in weeks. My son hasn't laughed since his father died. The boy burped and giggled. Jack grinned. I can tell. Suddenly there was a beep. Jack's head snapped toward the window. The security sensor he'd placed outside blinked red. Zura stood quickly. "What is it?" Jack moved to the panel near the door and tapped the screen. A blurry image appeared, red lights in the distance, moving fast. "Someone's here," he said, "and they're not from around here." Zura froze. "The clan. They must have tracked us." Jack cursed under his breath. "How?" She reached into her old coat and checked the inner lining. Her face turned pale. "There's a signal tag. They must have hidden it in my jacket before they cast me out." Jack grabbed the coat and tossed it into a metal barrel. He lit it with a small flame stick. The coat burned quickly, the tag inside, hissing and sparking, but the signal had already been sent. "We have to leave," Zura said, panic rising in her voice. "They'll take the children. They'll punish you too for helping a broken woman." Jack shook his head. "No one's taking anyone." He knelt beside the kids and spoke calmly. "We might need to hide. You both remember what we talked about? The tunnel under the floor?" The girl nodded. "Yes. The safe hole." Zura looked at Jack in shock. "You built a tunnel?" Jack pointed at the loose boards. "Always prepare for trouble." She stared at him, wide-eyed. "You're not just helping," she whispered. "You're protecting." Jack stood. "If I said I'll protect you, I mean it." She placed her hand over her chest, eyes wet. "Then you've already become more than a protector. You're becoming one of us." The clan return's darkness had fallen. The stars above the junkyard sky were hidden behind thick clouds. Jack stood outside his small home, scanning the horizon with old binoculars. His hands were steady, but his eyes were sharp. He had seen something earlier, red movement in the distance. Now, the silence was too perfect, the kind that warned of danger. Inside, Zura packed fast. She held her daughter's hand while stuffing dried food into a cloth bag. Her son helped carry a small energy core. "We have to be ready," she whispered to them. "If Jack says run, you run. Do not look back." The girl's eyes were wide. "Will they take you away again, Mama?" Zura knelt and kissed her forehead. "Not if I can stop them." Just then, Jack entered. "They're coming," he said. 4 figures moving from the north ridge, their armors glowing faint, clan trackers. Zura's hands froze. "That fast?" Jack nodded. "You were marked. They probably got your signal before I burned the tag. I thought we had more time." Zura stood. "If they see us together, they'll declare blood offense." Jack blinked. "What's that?" "It means they won't just take me back," Zura said, her voice shaking. "They'll punish you. They'll say I gave myself to a human, that I insulted their name." Jack looked at her, then at the kids. "Let them try." Zura reached out, grabbing his arm. "You don't understand. My clan doesn't use mercy. They come to erase." A beat passed. Then Jack said, "Then we show them they're not the only ones who fight." He opened the floor hatch, revealing the tunnel beneath. "Kids, get in. Take the emergency pack. Zura, keep them quiet. If I don't return in 30 minutes, take the back path and go to the forest ridge. There's a signal flare hidden in the tree roots. Use it. Someone will find you." Zura stepped forward. "I won't leave you." Jack met her eyes. "I'm not asking. I'm telling you to protect them. That's what a real parent does." Zura hesitated, then slowly nodded. She kissed her children and climbed into the tunnel, covering the hatch with boards just as Jack turned off the main lights. Outside, footsteps neared. 4 armored figures appeared from the mist, tall, silver-skinned, their helmets bearing the mark of Zura's clan. The leader stepped forward, scanning Jack's home. Then his voice rang out, cold and sharp. "Human, come out. You are harboring property of the Broken Claw clan. Give her up, or suffer." Jack opened the door slowly. He walked out alone, unarmed but unafraid. "She's not your property," he said. The alien stared. "She's not your concern anymore," Jack continued. "You threw her out. You called her useless. You abandoned her children. Now you want to take her back?" The leader stepped closer. "It's not your place to speak of alien laws." Then maybe your laws are the problem, Jack said. On Earth, we don't leave mothers to die. There was a long pause, then with a hiss, the leader raised his energy blade. You insult the clan, that makes you an enemy. Jack smirked. Good. Because I've been looking for someone to test my new toy. He pressed a button on his wrist. From behind a pile of scrap metal, a machine whirred to life. An old mining droid, reprogrammed by Jack. It rolled forward, spraying a flash of blinding sparks toward the attackers. The aliens shouted and backed, away. Jack ducked and rolled behind cover. The droid exploded, taking one of the attackers off balance. The others recovered quickly. One of them jumped toward the house. Inside the tunnel, Zura heard the noise and clutched her children. Her daughter whispered, "Mama, is he okay?" Zura stared upward. If he isn't, I won't forgive myself. But then, the boards shifted. The trapdoor opened. It was Jack, bloody, bruised, breathing hard. They ran off, he said with a grin. Turns out they weren't ready for Earth tech mixed with junkyard tricks. Zura pulled him into the tunnel and held him tight. You could have died, she whispered. Jack looked at her. I said I'd protect you, I meant it. Zura rested her forehead against his. Then by clan law, you've already become more than my mate. You've become our shield. A home from Scrapjack's hands were black with grease. It had been 3 days since the clan attack. No more shadows had appeared on the ridge. But Jack knew better. Danger never vanished, it only waited. So he did what he knew best. He started building. Out in the junkyard, surrounded by piles of broken machines and forgotten metal, Jack moved like a man with purpose. He didn't care that the pieces didn't match. He didn't care that his tools were old. He only cared about one thing: making this place safe. Zura stood at a distance watching him. She held her son on one hip and gently braided her daughter's hair. For the first time in many cycles, she didn't feel fear the moment the sun rose. There was something powerful about watching a human work. Not for money, not for pride, but for them. You're welding a door out of a ship wing? She asked, walking closer. Jack didn't look up. It's tougher than anything we got here. Once it's done, nobody gets in without blasting through 5 inches of star metal. Zura tilted her head. You don't have to do all this. Jack finally looked at her. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it with you. That makes a big difference. Zura's lips parted slightly. That word, with, felt warmer than fire. The children helped too. They picked small tools, held scrap panels, and even painted the metal walls with bright colors using leftover pigment sticks Jack found. The little boy drew a star. His sister drew a flower. When Zura asked what it meant, the girl replied, home. Zura's eyes welled up. That night, they all sat together inside the new space Jack had built. 2 extra rooms made from shipping containers, sealed tight and powered by salvaged solar panels. Zura served hot broth again, this time with added flavor. Thanks to earth spices Jack found in an old tin. You know, Jack said between bites. This is starting to feel like a real house. Zura smiled. Then maybe it's time you claimed it. Jack raised an eyebrow. Claim it? She looked around at the metal walls, the soft lights, the little corner where her children were playing. This place, it's more than a shelter now. It's a nest, a home, a heart. Jack nodded slowly. Well, I never thought I'd build one of those in the middle of a junkyard. Zura hesitated. Then her voice turned serious. Jack, if something happens to me, don't say that. Please listen, she insisted. If something happens, promise me you'll protect them, as your own. Jack put down his spoon. He leaned forward. Zura, you're not going anywhere. And they're not just yours anymore, they're ours. Zura's breath caught in her throat. Then you already wear the bond, she whispered. He reached out slowly and touched her hand. Her alien skin was soft, cool, but her fingers tightened around his with surprising strength. Suddenly, a flicker of red light blinked outside. Jack stood up fast and moved to the window. Sensor again? No, Zura said. That's different. They stepped outside together. Above them, a drone floated silently. It was small, silver, and marked with a seal neither of them recognized. It dropped something. A small orb landed in the dirt and unfolded into a hollow message. Jack stepped forward and read the glowing words. You have sheltered a castaway mate. Under ancient Union law, the Council requires an answer. Will you stand as her true bond? Zura gasped. That's a royal law, ancient and sacred. Jack squinted. They're asking if I'll stay with you. Forever? Zura looked at him, heart pounding. It's not just about love. It's about loyalty. If you accept, it becomes a binding law in the eyes of every clan. They won't be able to touch us. Jack stared at the message. Then at her. He thought of the rain, of the cry he heard that day, of the little boy who now called him Papa in a sleepy voice, of the girl who laughed for the first time while painting stars. He smiled, then let the Council know. He turned to Zura, took her hand again and said softly, I'm already hers. The fight for the family, the next morning, came with silence. Not peaceful silence, but the kind that made even birds hide. Jack was outside sharpening a broken metal pipe. He had reinforced the front of the home, sealed the side exits, and double-checked the hidden tunnel twice. Every step he took now was careful, planned, and loaded with one thought. They were coming. Zura knew it too. She stood near the children, braiding her daughter's hair slowly, fingers shaking even as she smiled. Her son clutched a small toy Jack had made from old circuit boards. We don't run this time, do we? Zura asked. Jack looked at her through the open door. No, this is our ground now. If we run forever, we stay scared forever. Zura swallowed hard. I've been scared most of my life. Jack wiped sweat from his brow. Then it's time. That ends today. He wasn't just a mechanic now. He wasn't just a man with a warm heart. He had become something more. A wall standing between a broken past and a fragile hope. The sun hadn't reached its peak when they arrived. 6 of them, this time in full armor, shining dark with clan markings etched in blood red. No warnings, no mercy. They came to take. One of them shouted from the edge of the junkyard, Step aside, human, this is clan business. You cannot stop what's already decided. Jack stood tall on the metal steps of his home, a heavy wrench in one hand, the pipe in the other. Wrong, he said. I already did. The alien warriors spread out in a half circle, scanning for weakness. One held a shock spear, another raised a heat cannon. Inside, Zura took a deep breath and spoke to her children. Do you remember the hole under the crate? Crawl in. Stay there. No matter what you hear, don't come out until I say. The little girl hugged her. Will you come too, Mama? Zura kissed her forehead. I always come back. She opened the crate door and helped them slip inside. Then she stood, lifted her old battle staff, half broken, barely charged, and walked outside. When Jack saw her step, beside him his face twisted. Zura, I told you. I was a warrior once, she said. They made me forget. You helped me remember. The aliens moved forward. One of them growled, You disgrace your blood, Zura, siding with dirt dwellers and scraps. Jack laughed. Say that after you eat one of my scrap traps. He clicked a small button in his boot. A section of the ground near the attackers exploded upward. Old gas tanks turned landmines. One alien flew backward, crashing into a pile of scrap. Another tripped over sharp wires Jack had hidden earlier. Earth tech, Jack smirked. Ugly but clever, the remaining enemies charged. Zura screamed something in her native tongue and spun her staff low, knocking one to the ground. Jack swung his pipe into the face of the warrior coming for him. Sparks flew. He screamed as blood sprayed across the dirt. But one enemy slipped past them, sprinting toward the house. Zura's eyes went wide. The children! Jack shouted. Go! Zura ran faster than she had in years, pain forgotten. She crashed through the door and tackled the intruder just as he raised a knife over the crate. They rolled across the floor. The warrior slammed her into the wall. But Zura didn't give up. She grabbed a shard of broken metal and drove it into the attacker's leg. He screamed. She used his pain to push him back and threw her weight into him, slamming his head against the wall. Once, twice until he dropped. She fell to her knees, panting. Jack came in a second later, bruised and bleeding. "You okay?" he asked. Zura nodded. They didn't reach the kids. Then Jack fell to one knee. "But they got me good." Zura crawled to him. Blood dripped from his side. She tore fabric from her sleeve and pressed it hard against the wound. "You idiot," she whispered. "You should have stayed behind the wall." Jack coughed. "You know me. I don't like walls anymore." Outside, the sound of retreat echoed. The rest of the clan had pulled back, confused, injured, humiliated. Jack chuckled through the pain. "Looks like they didn't expect Earth Love to fight like that." Zura smiled through tears. "No, they never understood love could fight." Married by alien law smoke still hung in the air. The battle was over, but the feeling of war hadn't left. Jack lay on the floor, his side tightly wrapped with cloth. Zura sat beside him, one hand holding his, the other wiping blood from his cheek. Outside the home, broken armor pieces lay scattered, clan weapons bent and useless, and deep red. Footprints led away, proof the attackers had run. The children peeked out from their hiding spot. Zura smiled and opened her arms. They rushed to her, crying and laughing all at once. Jack slowly sat up, groaning. "Well, that was the worst welcome party I've ever hosted." Zura shook her head with a soft laugh. "You're lucky you're still alive." He grinned. "No, I'm lucky you were here." Suddenly a humming sound filled the air. Zura stood up quickly. Another drone. Jack tried to get up too, but Zura stopped him. "You rest. This one, I think it's different." The silver drone hovered above them and projected a glowing blue circle in the air. Then a voice, calm and official, began to speak. "This is the Council of Bonds. Your actions have triggered ancient Union Law Article 9. By fighting, beside her, sheltering her and protecting her offspring with your life, you have completed the right of true claim. Your names are now linked, Zura of Clan Velthra and Jack of Earth." Jack blinked. "Wait, what?" Zura stared at the message, stunned. "You are now recognized as life mates under galactic law. Your family unit is protected. Any harm brought to you shall be considered war." Then the message faded. The drone beeped once, then flew away, quiet as a leaf in the wind. Jack leaned back against the wall, eyes wide. "Did I just get married by space law?" Zura turned to him, her face unreadable. "Yes, that was the highest law. Even the clans must obey it." Jack raised an eyebrow. "And you're okay with that?" Zura stepped forward and knelt beside him. She placed her hand gently over his heart. "I already chose you," she said, "before any law did." The children came close again. The boy hugged Jack's arm, his small voice soft. "Does this mean we have a real father now?" Jack looked at him, then at Zura. He smiled. "No, kid, you already had one. He just didn't know it yet." Later that night, the stars came out again. Real ones this time, clear, calm, bright. Jack stood on the roof, wrapped in a light blanket, holding a hot mug of alien root tea Zura had brewed. She joined him, wrapping her arm around his waist. Her head rested gently on his shoulder. "You've given us everything," she whispered. "No," Jack said, watching the stars. "You gave me something, a reason to fight, a reason to stay." Zura looked at him. "You were never just a helper. From the moment you lifted my son out of the mud, you became ours." He turned to her. "No more junkyard," Jack said. "Tomorrow, I'm building a garden. They need green, they need joy. "And what do you need?" she asked. He kissed her forehead. "Just you. And them." Down below, the children were already asleep, safe, warm, dreaming in a home built from scrap, guarded by love and sealed by law. They weren't broken anymore, they were a family.